I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to Playing from the Tips, Golf Australia Magazine's preview and tipping podcast that delves into tournaments around the world like few others because they don't want to or they shouldn't care about the things that we do in our 106th episode. Jimmy Emanuel here attempting to guide the ship as we look at the week of action ahead on the PGA Tour, LIV Golf League and LPGA, but all very much with an eye a little further ahead on the Masters and next week in Augusta, Georgia. One man, though, so dedicated to you, our listeners, is so locked into this week, I've heard he refuses to listen to the song Georgia on My Mind being used to promote the Masters. And some say he's still actually celebrating Atlanta Drive's GC win in the TGL. Rod Murray, integral part of TGL Victory 1, welcome.
Thank you, mate. Coming off a mad Monday, obviously, with the TGL victory. So if I'm a little dusty, you'll understand why.
Completely understandable. Next, as much as I like to deride him, his golf and everything about him, we welcome a man with a new nickname, Ewan Porter's Sherpa. Adrian Logue put Ewan Porter on his back and carried him around Northbridge Golf Club last week. Logue, you've got a couple of minutes to talk about how good you are and how good you were with Rod's clubs last Friday.
No, nobody wants to hear that. But yeah, we did preview that in the podcast last week, didn't we? That I was going to use Rod's Ping I2s, Copper Beryllium Ping I2s. And yeah, they're fine. I could game those like for real.
You could. It was actually remarkably impressive.
Yeah. That's man bites dog stuff, you carrying Ewan. That's headline stuff, isn't it? That's the unexpected.
I'm not saying I beat him off the stick, but maybe I beat him off the stick.
This is another of Logue's little things, like where he plays his own matches.
Yeah.
No one's keeping a scorecard in these things, and he just drops in, I could have beat him off the stick, and you start to think, hey, he hit a lot of good shots, and then it just develops, and then suddenly he's beating Ben Eccles and Ewan Porter off the stick in the space of a month.
Yeah. This is how propaganda works, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's very true.
Water it and fertilise it, and before long, everyone
Who can say?
Into it. Who can say? That's right.
Who can say?
The shot, it could be.
It could be.
Had less shots than him.
Okay, let's talk about some genuine highlights of last week, and I think we can start safely with Minwoo Lee, first PGA Tour win at the Houston Open.
Oh, without doubt. And what a flair for the dramatic he has. There's always something with Minwoo. Remember the ruling at the Australian Open? He didn't win that one, but on the 72nd hole at the Australian, he called for a ruling over on the left side of the 18th fairway, and happened again on the 8th hole, and the drama with Alejandro Tosti. He's made for the limelight.
And the aim point over the 8-inch putt.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's got that thing where, like, he's got the off-course personality, but on-course, he's one of those players that's standing over the ball. You wonder what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And every single shot coming down the stretch there, I was wondering, whoa, what's going to happen? Can he bring this in? Is he going to do something spectacular? Is he going to blow it way right like he did on 16?
It was ultimately, I thought, Jimmy, a very mature performance from Minwoo.
It was.
Give his caddy a lot of credit as well. I remember saying the same thing when he won the Vic Open down here a few years back. Minwoo was very much down to his caddy because Minwoo is aggressive to the point of recklessness sometimes.
He needs a bit of room, actually. I think we've found that about him with this week. That course, he was pretty wide, actually.
But he was thoughtful. He said afterwards he always missed it on the right side. So it wasn't just wild driving. It was, okay, if I'm going to miss it, it'll be that side and that'll be the good side. That's what I mean by maturity.
You could see even that on 17.
Yeah, he really managed himself and his own game really, really well. I think that's a real harbinger of some really good things to come from Minwoo.
And even on 18, when he pulled the drive on 18 and hit it a mile, he hit it on the left-hand side, which they were saying in the commentary was the side to miss it. He had the whole green to go up, and I think you're spot on, Rod. The caddy, new caddy this year, Bo Martin, who caddied for Shane Lowry when he won the Open, he seems to step in and be more controlling more often, but then also take a step back when he can see Minwoo the gears starting to turn.
Not dissimilar players, I'd imagine, to caddy for, where they'll see things that you could possibly never have, but you've got to have the maturity as a caddy to say, actually, this guy could pull that off. Yeah. And it seems that they've got a good relationship there. It's also a vote of confidence in Minwoo that a player who's caddied for an Open winner would caddy for you. I mean, there's something to be said about that. I thought it was the making of Adam Scott. When Steve Williams went to work for Adam Scott, that's when Adam had all his success. I don't think his game changed so much, but his view of himself was almost, well, if Steve Williams is prepared to caddy for me, I must be okay. There was something about that, and I think you might see a similar thing with Minwoo. Not in that same way, but in that when the good caddies will want to caddy for him, and that's a really good sign.
He was also sporting a very interesting watch. I don't know if you noticed. One of the few players to play with a watch.
He does play with it, yeah. I noticed that too.
But that was...
what is it? What was it? What's interesting about it?
It's a Debatoon DB28 XS Starry Seas. Was the watch.
Did you know that before you saw it? Like when you looked at it, did you go, oh, that's what that is?
I recognised the lugs. I didn't know the exact model.
Okay.
But it's got a very distinctive lugs.
Okay.
It's like a suspension system for the lugs.
For the lay people, what's a lug?
They're the things that the strap is attached to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Debatoon features these like suspension lugs, which is part of the whole system, which makes it sort of shockproof. I think there's a tennis player that wears that watch as well, because it's generally not a good idea to wear a mechanical watch playing golf because the shock can throw the system out. But the Debatoon's it's known for having multiple shockproof mechanisms in it. What do you think that might be worth? That watch?
10,000.
Jimmy?
30,000.
90,000 US.
Okay.
For one of those.
Well, he had to win. No wonder he was motivated.
It just tells the time.
If that's what your watch is costing, I dread to think what the rest of the wardrobe's going to set you back.
It doesn't have
you
any
need to
other
win on the
features.
tour.
It just tells the time.
Wow.
Your standard three-hand
And it
watch.
only sets the
Actually,
time that you set it to. So if you set it to the wrong time, it'll tell you the wrong time, won't it?
Indeed,
For
yes.
90 grand. That's outstanding.
It'll do it very accurately. But it doesn't even have it's not even an automatic. So it doesn't wind itself. You've got to manually wind it.
Okay. Clearly one that
It's a very nice piece of watchmaking. But yeah, it's interesting wearing it's a ridiculously expensive.
I suspect Minwoo enjoys the spoils of his work, as he should.
Yes.
But I suspect he's not one who'd be frugal with money. If he wanted something, he'd go and buy it because he can afford it, and that'd be an example of that, I would think.
Yes. I think the other thing from that tournament is the ominous warning of Scotty Scheffler just nearly winning without his best stuff, a last start before the Masters. That just looks very ominous for the rest of the Masters field.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And first we've really seen of him playing sort of half decent this season. So
and they said they set up Memorial Park to sort of try to emulate the conditions of Augusta National.
Well, short grass around the
overseeded
greens.
rye and everything like that. It was a little bit too soft. That was
but
the
they had a lot of rain, did they not?
That was weather, yeah.
I thought the course played really well. Really interesting to watch, I thought. Really good theatre.
Yeah.
The other highlight, I think, from the week, the end of the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia season at the National, Harrison Crowe wins again, and Order of Merit finishes up. There's only been 2 of the cards awarded for the DP World Tour to Ryan Peake and Anthony Quayle. Anthony Quayle, I think, is one of the success stories. Leaves Japan, comes back to play here to go overseas from here. Doesn't win the 7-shot penalty at the Vic PGA. Still lingers about not winning, but gets a card and he'll get over there. So that's absolutely a highlight and shows what the tour's all about here.
He'll do well too. He will do well.
Yes, he will,
because he's got exactly the game required. You'd think You'd think this is the first step on his way to the US Tour in the next 2 years. That'd be my guess.
And speaking of the US, Steve Allen ends a 22-year win drought and wins on the Champions Tour.
Yeah, how good.
And I don't think anyone in the world would begrudge Steve Allen for a win.
No, but you'd still be checking his identity to make sure he's old enough. He still looks 18 years old. He has never looked anything but 18 years old, and he still looks 18
He's kind of
old.
got a Benjamin Button thing going.
He has, actually,
where he's he looks like a wrinkled 18-year-old.
He's a fabulous bloke. He really is. I know we say this about lots of players, but what a terrific bloke, Steve. Just a genuine, down-to-earth bloke. We had him on the thing about golf before the Australian Open went back to Victoria because, of course, he won famously with the 3-day tournament. And he was just terrific. It was lovely to hear him recount that. And what a player, too.
He could win quite a few of those. Actually.
He could do an Alca.
Yeah, he could do an Alca.
Surprise me. He's got that sort of... And he's been at it a long time, so he knows how to get the ball around the course.
Yeah.
And still loves it, just loves practicing, loves playing golf. It's remarkable.
Those guys on the senior tour. Not all of the players who go to the senior tour are in a position where they love the game, but the guys who do are the ones who you tend to see this second career. Peter Senior, Steve Alker. I think
And
Steve
playing
Alker
for big money as well.
Absolutely.
Like, after all of that grind that he did for the last 10, 15 years, playing Monday qualies and stuff like
Absolutely.
that. Absolutely. Really,
It was his first win since that Australian Open, I believe.
That's amazing.
Oh, is that
What, he
right?
won the German Open.
He won the German Open before the Australian Open, won the Australian Open, and then never won a 4-round event again. Or a 3, yeah.
I think, yeah. Good on him. Well done, Stephen Allen.
On last week, we had some success ourselves, 6 top 10s and 2 wins, all of which takes us to 22 victories and 40 top 10s already in 2025, which, Rod, you will know are numbers that are unbeaten by any podcast that will struggle to double its win total in the next 9 months, given TGL's now over.
Yep, confirmed.
Confirmed. If we get to 44 wins, we've done something remarkable in 9 months.
Well, you'd be checking the books, wouldn't you? Something's gone on if 44 wins, especially if Logue sits out a couple of episodes.
I hope no one checks the books because I don't really keep too
know
many
where the
records.
is,
But
you just make it up as you go along. That's right. It's a choose your own adventure story. People can write in if they like, if they want to have an input into what the opener is.
on we go to this week, and Rod, you're going to start us off with the PGA Tour's last start before the Masters and the Valero Texas Open.
Indeed, Jimmy. Valero is an oil company, and we're in Texas, so there's probably not much valid point in exploring sponsor watch this week. TPC San Antonio. This is one of the longest running events on the tour. Actually, it dates back to 1922, and I think it's the longest running that's always been played in the same city or the same state, whatever it is. It's one of the good. It's one of the long-standing events on tour. TPC San Antonio, Greg Norma design. What can you say about it? It's very TPC. Probably the 16th and the 18th holes attract the most attention. The 16th par 3 with a bunker in the middle of the green, a la Riviera, and 18 is actually a very interesting par 5, which always seems to produce a dramatic result. It's got a sort of a creek down the left, which then cuts across the front of the green, so diagonal hazard, and they tend to be good. Apart from that, it's a good test of golf for players at this level. It'll usually churn out a winning score somewhere between sort of 13 and 20 under, depending on conditions for the year. So the golf will be interesting enough to watch. Now, Jimmy, you mentioned so much focus on next week because we know, of course, the Masters consumes everything. But the stakes this week, the winner this week, if they're not already in the Masters field, gets in the Masters field. We all know that. The great last chance grab. Matt Jones did it in 2014 to great excitement, so it's possible for a player in this field here. But what people tend to ignore is there's actually a higher stakes game on here, and that's the Aon Swing 5.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, you got
Tell us all about it.
I'm sure. So the Aon Swing 5 is a series that's designed to give pathways to the signature events for tour players who aren't already in. So I can tell you that as we stand, and this is the last event to qualify for the RBC Heritage, as we stand, Carl Phillips, Gary Woodland, Sami Valamarkai, Davis Riley, and Ryo Hisatsuni are the top 5 on the Aon Swing 5. So they'll all be looking to hold those positions to make sure they're at the RBC Heritage. Win this week and Masters beat them. So a couple of big crescendos there, Jimmy, to come. They will have to play pretty well. This has got a decent field this week. It's dictated as much as we said about next week as it is this week. It's always a funny spot on the schedule the week before a major because some players just refuse to play because they refuse to play before a major, no matter what the event is. Others want to play no matter
Unless
where
they're
it is.
contractually obliged to play.
And then you've got others who are contractually obliged to play. Indeed.
We'll talk about that later.
We've got 6 of the top 15 in the world are in the field. Ludwig Aubert is the highest ranked and probably the best known name player. Your defending champion, Akshay Bhatia. Have we settled on this yet?
Akshay Bhatia.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't think it was in dispute.
He's back to, well, I've always thought of it as Bhatia, but anyway, that's just me. Patrick Cantlay, 2-time winner, Corey Connors. They're sort of the highest profile names. Aaron Baddeley's the only Australian in the field, although Ryan Fox, who we kind of adopt when he does good things as a New Zealander, he's also playing this week. You'd like Aubert's chances here, sort of golf course that will probably suit him. But the only question mark will be, as it is for a lot of those who are already in the Masters, is this week about this week or next for these players? And I don't know. Come Sunday, is there anything in that? Who knows? Either way, I won't be tipping Ludwig, although I'm sure others will. I'm going to go with Ryo Hisatsuni because he's actually not in the Masters next week and he needs to hang on to his Aon Swing 5 spot. So he's got the motivation to perform this week and actually played not great but decent last week. It was quite low scoring last week, maybe not so much his game. It'll be less so this week. It's a different sort of golf this week, which might suit him better.
Nice. Logue?
I was looking at Bo Newjack Hostler for this week, given he's from Texas and has performed well. But then I looked a bit deeper, and his form's just not good. He's played 9 times this year and made 7 cuts, which, but just nothing looking like
Just
contending.
midfield.
But then it's funny with PGA Tour golf, isn't it? That sometimes a player like that can just come out of the blue. But he's also never won on the PGA Tour, and he's been around for a few years now. I wonder. I might not be able to make Bo Hostler a thing. It doesn't matter how many times I pick him. It just might.
Well, Bo Hostler's been trying to make Bo Hostler a thing since the 2012 US Open at Olympic Club when he was an amateur and nearly won. So he feels your pain.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a great stretch? You had Bo Hostler one year, and there was Cole Hammer.
Yeah.
Remember him at the US Open one year? I can't remember that might have been Chambers Bay.
Are any of those names as good as Dow Finsterwald?
No name is as good as Dow Finsterwald.
Oh, what about Kermit Zali?
No. Rod Funseth.
Oh yeah, good one.
Good stuff.
We're getting locked down. Who are you tipping, Loke?
Well, I'm going to go with Akshay Bhatia, or Bhatia, as Rod would say.
Nice. I'm also going for someone not in the Masters yet, but bit of form. Started the year pretty average, but 2 top 20s in his last 2 starts. Eric Cole. I think he's a really, really good player, and just
He really is. Was it 2 years ago?
Yes, he was. Quite late. Played the mini tours, of course. The son of Laura Bohr of LPGA fame, and just a good all-round player. Very tidy, and he feels like a guy who should be in the Masters every year. Won't win one, but he should be there. So he feels like a win the week before.
I'm on board with that.
Logue, you mentioned contractually obligated to play, so we may as well go to yourself, a noted Florida enthusiast, and LIV Golf Miami.
Yeah, LIV Golf Miami. It's being played at Doral, Trump National Doral, I think it's called now. And I'll read a little bit of the description from the LIV Golf website of this golf course, which we all are more or less familiar with. Yes. So let's get Liv's take on it. It's a big boy course, is how Brooks Koepka describes Trump National Doral's Miami's famed Blue Monster. Rarely have truer words been spoken. 75,000 yards. It was
75,000
7,500 yards. Sorry, 7,500
really
yards.
Is big boy golf.
Might as well be 75,000. I know. It's a big course. It was, this was redesigned by Gil Hanse in 2013. I think we forget that. It was
Norman did it before that, didn't he? Norman did a redo on it, I'm pretty sure. And maybe even Ray Floyd had a go at it prior to that.
I don't have that information at hand.
I might be wrong, but
yeah,
I
I think you're right about Norman. I seem to recall something about that. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. There's not a lot of there's not a lot to say about the golf course. Anyway, we know what it's like. Florida golf. There's going to be a lot of water. It's very resorty, but brutally long. Is its main defence just long? The field. These players they're contractually obliged to play the week before the major. John Rahm. I don't know if he's going to be super happy about that for his prep, but he's doing pretty well in LIV this year. He's second in the standings so far in 2025. Joachim Niemann, as we know, is leading the standings and will go into this tournament probably strongly favoured. Last year's winner was Dean Burmester, who won in a playoff over Sergio Garcia. So
it's a big hitters golf course, this.
Those are some of the form players. I think we've also got I was just looking down the roster a little bit in LIV, and Sebastian Munoz is currently 4th in the rankings, and I think we don't give him a lot of...
We don't talk enough about Sebastian Munoz, you're right.
And I think you've got to look at players like that who are, playing well in those LIV fields, because there's opportunities for them to win and sort of snatch the odd victory here and there. So anyway, I do think Sergio's very interesting because he's in weirdly good form at this point in his career. He had a win. He's performed well at this course coming in the playoff, losing in the playoff last year. And I just think he quietly thinks himself a bit of a chance for the Masters.
I agree.
So for those reasons, I'm going with Sergio Garcia this week.
I'm officially putting everyone on notice. I actually thought about Sergio for this.
Can I tell you that I already had Sergio written in the logs of, I thought exactly the same thing. And Log, you did a great job of convincing me, which means I'm now going to change. But Rod, I'll go to you first.
Well, I thought about Sergio, but then I decided I couldn't take things as seriously as that. So I've actually gone with a very left field tip, which is Dustin Johnson, which may not be as left field as it seems, because there may be no better marriage of player and course than Dustin Johnson and Doral. I think was always a good performer there at PGA Tour.
Sure.
At some point, he's got to do something. He's got too much talent not to. He doesn't even have to try. He's going to win one of these at some point, you would think. So the big comeback from DJ, I suspect.
Nice. I genuinely do think Sergio is the red hot chance with all the form and history and everything like that. But I also think Brooks Koepka is a genuine chance to be up near it this week. He'll be gearing up for next week very much so, and he's the kind of guy who accidentally wins a tournament because he's focused on something else. So
good call.
Yeah, so Brooks Koepka for me is my now official tip. And we move.
Sorry, you mentioned contractually obligated. I was just thinking about that. I wonder whether it was actually the players on LIV who wanted to play the week before the Masters, whether those top players that in some way.
Yeah, I believe there was quite a bit of discussion around it, and quite a lot of them did. The ones who have probably got a little bit more sway, Mickelson, of course, was one who always liked to play the week before. DJ did a little bit. Cam Smith's always done it a little bit, but so I think they kind of had a bit of sway and a bit of pull in doing that. But also, LIV Golf are going to say we need to play either before or the week after because it's when everything's at the highest interest level. Yeah, so
take your pick, fellas. You got to have one or the other. Up to you.
Yeah. I would have thought the players who may not be that happy are the ones who are going to be involved in LIV's version of the Creator Classic. It's not been played live, I don't believe. The LIV Duels, which is scheduled for April 5, where they pair up with a YouTube creator.
I should have mentioned that, actually. Yeah, there's quite a lot of
golf YouTube creator, I assume, not just any YouTube creator.
Grant,
like a crochet
or what's his name?
Horvat. Yeah,
Horvat. Yeah. And Rick Shields. Rick Shields?
Yes.
Rick's a LIV guy, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and a few others. One of the Bryan brothers is playing, I think. Maybe one.
I think both the Bryan brothers are playing, yeah.
Okay. Isn't that idea honestly better suited to create, I think, better suited to TGL? I mean, I think we can accept TGL missed the mark in terms of being something that people are going to go back and watch year after year after year and get excited about. But the interactive and potential international nature of it, to me, looks like maybe that's the avenue.
I think the element of some fun thing early in the week, or this one I think is on Saturday, which is a little bit odd. That concept of just shoving something fun somewhere in the week, I think, is a good idea. Yeah, I reckon, and TGL fits that.
I reckon a creator in every TGL team,
yeah,
would be the way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because you've got some good personalities amongst those. And let's be honest, in a field of PGA Tour pros, who doesn't want to see the creators get up and make buffoons of themselves?
Yeah. And potentially miss the screen.
Yeah, it's building in the car crash that people watch car racing for.
Exactly.
you build it in, and then anyway, that was just my thought. I thought about it this week.
I like that idea. I'd probably like to see a lot more TGL, to be honest, because the sense I get from it is a little bit like 2020 cricket, where it's going on all the time, and you're not really. There's matches scheduled all the time, and you're missing most of them. But occasionally you turn it on and you think, oh, this is fun to watch.
There's something interesting.
If it could fill that spot.
Yeah. There's something in this TGL. It's not what they've done, but there's something in it, and I'm sure of it.
Just one more comment on LIV and the week before the major. I think this would have been the perfect opportunity for them to finish on Saturday and get like one over all of the PGA Tour players. Finish on Saturday. Give your players an extra day to prepare for next week.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It's right there. It's 3-day tournament. Just finish on Saturday.
Yeah,
they're used to starting on Thursday. Just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then have an extra day up your sleeve.
Yeah,
there you go.
If you're listening.
If you're listening, yeah, Logan's got a suggestion. We've mentioned a few alternate formats, and it's that case again for the LPGA this week, who play their match play event. The T-Mobile match play presented by MGM Rewards. T-Mobile is a cell phone company in America. MGM Rewards is a casino or casino rewards program, so bet a lot of money and you get a lot of things out of MGM Rewards, I think. This was previously the lead-in week to the first women's major of the year, which thankfully it is no longer, because I don't think anyone particularly wants to play match play the week before a major. You can potentially play a lot of extra holes. You can have all sorts of permutations of you play one match and you're out, and so they weren't getting a lot of buy-in from the players. So it's now no longer the week ahead. It is still in Vegas. Remarkably, the LPGA's new website is quite a good, or update to its website. It's quite good. On this one, you can't actually see the name of the venue on the main page, and it's actually quite hard to find if you don't know what it is. So there's a miss for the LPGA.
I think the LPGA website's a bit of a mess, personally, to be honest with you.
The new one?
Yeah, I don't enjoy it at all.
This was my
Websites with
first.
too many bells and whistles. Keeping in mind, the main reason I interact with any golf website is for the leaderboard. And all professional golf websites could take a tip, put it front and center where you can just press the button and get the scores.
Yeah, you won't like the new website then. It's very news forward.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
Yeah, website.
The course is Shadow Creek, where they've played it the last couple of years. Of course, Steve Wynn's former private golf club that then became available to MGM, people staying at the MGM hotels or casinos in Vegas. Tom Fazio designed. It's got, of course, as the name suggests, Shadow Creek. There's a lot of water goes through it, big bunkers. It's very modern, sort of flashy, we spend a crazy amount of money golf, but it is highly ranked in America. It is highly thought of. Match play, though, it sort of takes the course out a little bit. Nelly Korda won this last year. She's back again to defend her title, and the change in timing has helped them a little bit with the field. You've got quite a few tournament winners, people like Lydia Ko, Hyojin Ju Kim, Gino Titicum, Ronnie Yin. It's a pretty good field actually this week, and it's an interesting one with match play. People say it doesn't get played enough, but when we do have match play tournaments, they don't necessarily get bought into that much. On the Australian front, Gabby Ruffles in the field, Grace Kim, Minjee Lee, Steph Kyriakou, and Hira Naveed is the last player in. So there's a bit of interest there, but I think it's sort of pretty hard to go past Nelly Korda in a match play situation. As a defending champion, clearly likes the golf course. Minjee Lee will have a bit of a bump after her brother winning last week. He actually lives in Vegas, so they'll be having dinner together and all that sort of stuff that siblings are supposed to do. So I think Minjee will have a good week, but I'm going to go with Nelly Korda because she's the best player in the world.
Because Nelly Korda and what?
Yeah, exactly right. Simple as.
Another player who sometimes wears a watch playing. In her case, it's a Richard Mille. That one's worth about $350,000.
Did you say Richard?
Richard Mille, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that actually just Richard? Or is it spelt Richard?
It's spelt Richard, yes.
Right,
But
okay.
it's...
You can choose. I've got no problem.
That one's worth
choosing.
about $350,000.
Well, she won $300,000 for winning this last year, so she was still 50 short, but clearly not going too badly. On more golf-related matters, would it be better, Jimmy, to have this after the first major of the year? If you don't have a funky format, you'd put it after, wouldn't you?
This has been such a problem. The players just want to bail out by the final round in this one, don't
Well,
they?
and the other thing is
So much golf.
You can go there and play 15 holes quite well and go home.
Yeah.
It's also wait a minute, how's that done anything for?
It's so much golf on a big demanding course too.
absolutely.
Like, it must be
agreed.
mentally draining.
It is good. It is good to watch though match play. This one I've watched probably the last couple of finals. I'm tipping Ayaka Furuway, by the way, who's been in 2 of the last 3 finals. I just think she's an ideal sort of match play player. It is always compelling, but the problem with professional match play tournaments, Jimmy, is you can't guarantee who gets to the end, so you don't always have the big name players, and that's why television doesn't like it. That's why they ruined the old match play that was played in Texas there. They destroyed it trying to have a pool system and this, that, and the other. If you're going to do it, you've got to do it the way the LPGA does it. It's like you either win or you go home. It's pretty simple. And if you win, you go through. So I enjoy it, but I can understand why perhaps it's not the most popular.
I'm going to go with Jin Young Ko.
Yeah.
She'll
kinda
just grind it out. Very consistent. Like some players are just going to lose patience this week, and JYK will never lose patience. She'll just grind you out.
It's kind of telling, isn't it, that you can make a case for so many on the LPGA. It says something about the LPGA and why I think it's good to watch at the moment. I'm really enjoying watching the LPGA these last sort of few weeks this year and last year as well. Good characters and plenty of them. You know, it doesn't matter who you support. Chances are you're going to have someone in the fight come Sunday afternoon. I think they're doing it well, but yeah, we'll see.
particularly at an event with a limited field, a top 64 or whatever it is, that it's hard to get bad players when you go to the top of the tree. You're going to get some players who don't play it because they don't want to play match play or they don't want to do whatever. But it's one of those sort of things where you're going to get some good players in a limited field, and it makes for pretty compelling viewing, albeit not particularly what the tour or TV might want it to be. That will just about do us for episode 106. Rod, I assume you're going to forcefully take your golf clubs back from Logue now that you've heard that he was successful with them?
No. Now's the time to negotiate.
Yeah, might have to make an offer.
This is a seller's market. He's already tried the goods, and I know he wants them. So that's of enormous value. No matter what the final price is, I still have that for the rest of my life. That, remember those pings I sold you for that great price? Yeah.
Well, given he's been airing everyone's watch price, we should allow them to dictate how much Logue pays right. And then publicly name and shame the price.
Yeah, put your bids in. We'll talk.
Logue, do you want to send out a message of hope to your partner, Ewan Porter, for next time before we go?
He should just hang in there. We all have bad days.
Right. And, form is temporary, class is permanent. Keep your head up, Ewan. Shoulders back.
I'll be there. I mean, he was the wind beneath my wings. That's his last game. So yeah,
the name beneath you on the leaderboard.
Very touching and not as good as you off the stick, apparently. You can, of course, follow along with all the action and so much more on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au, where next week, of course, the Masters coverage will be a high focus. It's also the focus of the current print magazine, Rory McIlroy on the cover, and everything Masters preview ahead of the year's first major. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week on Playing from the Tips.